big news. Disney brought Bob Iger back. They announced yesterday they're going to bring him back for 2 more years. I think his contract now runs through the end of 2026. And Bob Iger said several things. One, first time that I've heard him say this, he's acknowledged that everything that I've been saying about cord cutting for years is destroying Disney. And he now said ESPN needs a, quote, strategic partner. I've been saying for years that I would bet that ESPN is going to end up merged with a sports gambling company. That's my best bet. We'll see whether that comes to fruition. But I think Disney's going to spin it off. And Bob Iger also said that his political war with Ron DeSantis is not impacting the overall Disney brand. I think that's 100% wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. The Wall Street Journal came out with a story, front page, saying that Disney's theme parks had set a 10-year low in attendance on July 4th this year. 10-year low. And Bob Iger came out and said, well, they didn't take into account that it was really hot that day. And I can't believe that's his talking point. He said attendance is not an issue. It just happened to be really hot that day at Disney World. I'm not an expert. I'm not a meteorologist. I am not an expert in weather. But I do know this. It has been hot on July 4th in Orlando, Florida, every year that Disney has had a theme park in Orlando, Florida. I will go to the mat on this. I think Disney World is around 50 years old. One of you may be a meteorologist. If you can look up the data on what the temperature has been on July 4th in Orlando, Florida, I bet it's never been 45 degrees. I bet it's never been 55 degrees. I bet it's never been, these are for a high. I bet it's never been 65 degrees for a high. I bet it has been hot every July 4th since Disney World opened in Orlando. Now, maybe some days it hasn't gotten as hot because it was super rainy. That's certainly possible. And it was a huge rainstorm, and the high only got up to like 76 degrees or something. That might have happened over the last 50 years. It rained so hard, sun never came out, and it was just 76 degrees or something like that. I bet it has never been not hot. And I bet that the July 4th that just passed, I bet it wasn't the hottest July 4th on record at Disney World. Again, just a guess. I'm not a meteorologist, not an expert. That's a lie, okay? What's happened is, while Bob Iger won't admit it, Disney's getting Bud Lighted. Disney's decision to go to war with Ron DeSantis and with at least half of the parents in America is a disaster. And it's happening at the absolute worst time because Disney's overall business is in severe trouble. And let me explain why that is. Disney has lost $11 billion so far in streaming. Let me repeat that. $11 billion with a B dollars. That means before Disney makes a dollar in profit off Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, Hulu, all of these companies, it has to first make $11 billion in profit. Okay? That's tough to do. All right? I'm just going to toss that out there. Making $11 billion in profit is hard to do. So before Disney can make a dollar, one single dollar on streaming, they have to make $11 billion in profit, not revenue, profit, to erase all of the money that they have lost so far. That's hard to do. And they have to do it while their existing cable and satellite business collapses, which is why Bob Iger, for the first time, came out and said, hey, we're willing to sell ABC. We're willing to sell whatever other channels they have, Nat Geo, FX, all these other cable and satellite channels, Disney Channel, that Disney has. They're basically putting it all on the block. Because here's the deal. Disney has $45 billion in debt. They are losing money hand over fist on streaming. And here's what has saved them: movies and theme parks. Movies and theme parks have been profit centers that have allowed Disney to withstand the cord-cutting collapse and the streaming losses. Here's the problem. American parents are saying, screw you guys, we don't believe in left-wing woke Disney politics. And you say, okay, what evidence do you have of that, Clay? Well, I'll give you some. One, the lowest revenue Pixar movie of all time, Open, just came out. It followed failure in several other consecutive Disney movies. We say, oh, people aren't going to theaters, Clay. Well, actually, Super Mario Brothers is going to make $1 billion before all is said and done in revenue. Super Mario Brothers. People are willing to go to the movie theaters, okay? What about Indiana Jones? Worst performing Indiana Jones of all time. You say, okay, well, Indiana Jones has got an older movie star. It's an older movie. Well, my response to that would be the Mission Impossible Tom Cruise is about to set record highs. Last year's Maverick with Tom Cruise dwarfed every other movie out there. Older actor, older franchise, Top Gun Maverick, by far the biggest success. Steven Spielberg said it saved cinemas. That's how much of a percentage gain Top Gun Maverick was. So Pixar, disaster. Indiana Jones, comparative disaster. July 4th, all-time last decade, record low attendance. The Disney Plus streaming offering, losing subscribers. That is, the number of subscribers are declining. ESPN cable and satellite subscriptions collapsing. They're losing $11 billion in streaming. And oh, by the way, they have to cut a massive check to Comcast to buy the 1/3 of Hulu that they don't presently own. Already having $45 billion in debt. And oh, by the way, the woke-ass NBA is going to have their hand out demanding that Disney double or triple what they pay for a declining audience product in the NBA. So, Bob Iger screwed because the evidence, oh, by the way, they also had to shut down the Star Wars hotel. Disney never shuts down hotels. Go to Disney World. Every hotel, I used to camp out there at Fort Wilderness Campgrounds. When I was a kid, we would camp out and go to Disney World. They never shut down hotels. They shut down the Star Wars hotel because it was too expensive and people weren't going. So clearly, across the board, Disney is losing audience. Now you can say, well, there's a lot of reasons. It's too expensive. Okay. Why were they raising prices at the amusement park? Because they were trying to subsidize all the losses that were existing everywhere else. So I agree with you. I think they have been charging too much, but that was a function of the poor performance of business elsewhere. Now they shut down Splash Mountain because they said the ride was racist. Bob Iger allowed the woke virus to infiltrate Disney, and now parents are Bud Lighting the Disney brand. It's not just me. Axios came out and said Disney is now one of the most polarizing brands in America. And the gain that they have gotten from Democrats from being woke is minimal. What they have lost from Republicans is substantial. Bob Iger announced his extension as the Disney CEO. Stock barely moved. Bob Iger announces, hey, we're trying to sell as much as we possibly can, basically, of the company. Ain't a good sign. Disney up a minimal amount as we speak. It was down a little bit earlier in the day. No measurable reaction at all to Bob Iger sitting for a long-form conversation on CNBC this morning. They are in trouble. They are in trouble on all fronts suddenly. I'm telling you, they are Bud Light entertainment version. And it's going to get nasty. And the woke virus has infected this company, and it is going to be massively impactful going forward, and it's already been impactful. 9 years, the stock price has been basically the exact same. 9 years. Feuding with Ron DeSantis was a disaster for Disney. Claiming that it isn't having an impact is a lie. Bob Iger is in trouble. He should have stayed retired because the early decisions that he made, and he made some good ones, buying Star Wars, buying Marvel, buying the Pixar, all of those are very good decisions. All the benefit is now gone because he has allowed this company to go fully woke. He should have stayed retired. Wall Street has no faith in him. They're going to have to really work hard to get their financial house in order. They're firing people left and right. Good luck going forward.